Tim, good to see you, mate. Don't muck it up. I said muck. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by our great mates at Top Sport. Please like and subscribe where you can. You'll notice that Terry's got very hairy this week as we're joined by Sam Shinazi. Mate, before we get into it, where can we find your brilliant Sharks content?
We're on all the podcast platforms, Sharkcast. We're on YouTube. Give it a subscribe, a like, and we're on all the social medias, including the ones I don't want to be on, at Sharkcast Pod. We'll find you there.
Fantastic. We're going to talk some Sharks in a little while, but we're going to get to the biggest news of the week, of the month, of the year. Dylan Brown reported to have signed a 10-year deal worth upwards of $14 million. I need your entire breakdown of this.
Dan, 10 years to start with is way too long for, I would say, 99% of players. The Cherry Evans thing's worked. Tamalolo, not so much. I don't think that he is in that caliber of a player. Personally, I don't think he's really done that much. I mean, international level, he's had a few good games. 10 years way too long. The money is also way too much for me. And unless Ponga is going somewhere, I do not understand it. And we've seen clubs absolutely just shoot themselves in the foot by doing this in the past. And we've all learnt, except for the Newcastle Knights.
Reeks of desperation. Dylan Brown.
I don't get it.
He's a good player. He's not a great player.
Yep.
We saw this past weekend. I literally wrote an article, put myself out there, said Dylan Brown's going to stand up to be counted. He played second fiddle to Ronald Volkman, who was a New South Wales Cup level half.
He wasn't good either.
And he wants, if I'm Newcastle, I'm ringing him his agent at half time saying, oh, you know that deal? Psych, it's gone. Yeah. I reckon Brown took it before in 4 weeks, he's not going to have that deal on the table. They
must have signed it before the game and announced it afterwards, because there is no way a club would watch that performance and go, that's a one-off.
We did it all year last year. Mitch Moses missed how many games and they won how many games?
I fear for Newcastle and their fans, who are magnificent. We know that. They're a great club historically, but I got big concerns about this one.
Yeah, I think they've mortgaged their... As you said, if Callum Ponga's said, hey, I'm going to Roosters...
But even then, why would you go for this guy out of everyone in the NRL?
That's a good point, unless he plays fullback. I know they tried it a few times, didn't work.
Fullback?
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Fletcher Sharp had a really good debut at 5'8".
I think that the Knights have done better in the past few years than I gave them credit for, than I expected. The coach has done better than I ever would have thought. I'm not a huge fan. They're sort of slowly creeping up, inch by inch. It's a slow build. I don't think this is the way to go long term.
No, it's desperate. And if in 5 years, if he's not the best player in the game, this is the worst contract of all time. I can't see it, mate. And again, I'm on record. I'm on the couch here last year saying I'm a huge Dylan Brown fan. If he came up for $800K, I'd want the Sharks to have a sniff. Not now, obviously, but in years gone by.
Yeah.
1.3 million over 3 years, I get it. They're desperate, they're taking a punt, whatever. 10 years, though, says he's our guy. That's Nathan Cleary in his 20s. I would say that young Isaiah Katoa for the Dolphins is the kind of player I would offer that to, based on potential. Anyone else in the game?
But even with Katoa, who I love, you're not going to say he is 10 years.
No, maybe 5. And in 5, you redo.
As a Sharks fan, the 6-year Nico deal was a little bit adventurous, but at least he was the best player that year.
Well, he's a Dalian medalist. Brown. So last year, Parramatta needed to beat the Tigers to avoid the spoon. That was the Dylan Brown year. I think Newcastle made a huge error, and I'm happy to go on camera and get that on.
I hope we're both wrong, and I hope that they, for the betterment of the game, they kill it. But you look at Melbourne, and they've got Pappenhausen, Hughes, Grant. Superstars of the game, and it works. Mm-hmm. And then people all around them. I don't know if these two guys at Newcastle are in that... Well, I know they're not in that calibre. So we shall see. We shall see in 10 years, Dan.
Now, moving off that, Lachlan Galvin perhaps has seen this from Newcastle and said, oh, hold on. He's told the Tigers just to park their offer and say he's going to market. Not till November 1st can anyone talk about it. Now, I've written an article on Zero Tackle, probably dropped by the time this publishes, so I'm going to reference it a little bit, with 5 teams. I could name 10 who would go out and sign Lachlan Galvin. The Tigers have, 6 months to convince him to stay? I think they have to, because if they lose this kid, we're talking all-time clangers.
Yeah, and the Tigers should have won on the weekend against Newcastle. They didn't. We've already seen a little bit of improvement. The squad is obviously massively improved. They need to keep him 100%. If he was to go to Para, that's where he was a local junior,
Big fan.
I mean, Para would benefit from that. Then you'd think, oh, okay, him and Moses, that's something.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're back on track. I would dare say it's an upgrade on Brown, potential-wise.
Yeah, I agree.
But, yeah, Benji better have a good year and some good chats with him because, as you said, it's not just going to be Para. There's going to be a lot of clubs after him.
Yeah, I got the Roosters, I got the Dolphins, and
Roosters,
South Sydney, because Cody Walker's 35, he's going to be 37 by the time this kid comes off contract. Now, it is for 2027, which means they've got to the end, so no one can talk to him until November 1st, but we all know how that goes.
Yep.
Someone from the Roosters is going to leak an article, we got $1.5 million across. Maybe he's going to have to go a 10-year deal, who knows? There's going to be suitors, there's going to be a lot of suitors, and there's talk of him moving to 13, which I think opens up even more.
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy. He's supremely talented. He should have been Rookie of the Year, if not for a suspension. Don't get me wrong. The rules are the rules. I get it. He was the Rookie of the Year. Should have been Calero, but Galvin second. The Tigers got 6 months to nail this down. Jerome Luai's got to be in his ear. Benji Marsh's got to be in his ear. Jerome Bullard. They're all going to say, hey, we got this next 5 years mapped out. But if they lose 3 or 4 games in a row, they play Parramatta this weekend. Parramatta absolutely belt them. He's going to tell his manager, oi, those calls we're taking from the Tigers? Don't.
Because there were some issues last year, yeah?
He wanted to go to the Roosters, yeah.
The Roosters.
I thought he was done and then he changed his mind. I actually thought he'd sign a contract extension.
Yeah.
Must have been a short term.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I would imagine he and his manager are out to make some money. They're going to make some money. Do the Tigers have the money?
They better have the money. All right, in the pre-season, I made a controversial take.
Unlike you.
Surprise, surprise. That there are only 4 teams that could win the comp. I was wrong. There's 5. If Manly stay fully fit, they join, obviously, the Sharks, the Broncos, and the big 2 that everyone knows, and is tipping to play again in the grand final this year. Apart from that, though, there is a huge gap to the rest.
Yeah.
I can't see... It's round 1. I know this is hyperbole. Cronulla are the only team that did themselves any favours in defeat. I would argue the Dolphins, given the circumstances, can also hold their head high. Everyone else, hopeless.
Yeah. Of the winning teams, I thought the Dogs were decent. I like their defence. I think they're still building to something, but I wouldn't rule them out as next tier kind of, might be an upset in the finals.
Yep, okay.
But there is a big gap. There's a lot of stink out there. And I don't know if that's pleasing for me as a Sharks fan or not. Like, obviously, we just want to beat the best and win the comp. But as a fan, there was a lot of stink.
As a rugby league fan,
Yes,
you're absolutely right.
rugby league fan.
As a Sharks fan, I wish them all terrible. I hope they all get stripped the points tomorrow.
Yeah.
As a rugby league fan, though, if you looked at this weekend, and do not get me wrong, I enjoyed Brisbane because they were fun.
They're awesome.
I love Melbourne because they were fun, and I love watching the Roosters get beaten because it's really funny. As a rugby league fan, you're like, we got 27 weeks of this?
Maybe we do. Only time will tell. But the Broncos were unbelievable. I have to believe the Roosters can improve on that. I don't know how or why or when, but I just feel like as an entity, they've got to improve on that. So I think the Broncos maybe they're not going to be like that every week, but there's a lot of strike power there. And the tries they scored, the tries Melbourne scored were very impressive.
Melbourne had 8 line breaks and less than half missed tackles in the first. Parramatta led the stat of tackled in opposition 20.
Yeah.
Because Melbourne just scored long-range tries.
Yep.
It was so much fun to watch. But at the end of the game, you're like, that was a terrible game.
I have spent a long time in my life putting shade and disliking Jason Riles. That time has passed because he's in different colours. The colours I don't really care either way for. And I actually felt sorry for the guy because I have to believe he's better than that. I don't know what happened. It was a hot day. Half their team was out. That's 2 things. That's not good.
No, and it is round 1.
I have to believe he's better than that. I hope he is.
Like, I hope some of those sides have a real good look at themselves. We haven't seen the Titans yet, so we can't judge them.
True.
I think they're going to be good. Terry thinks they're going to be really bad. They're probably going to be somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Some breaking news.
Yes.
That won't be breaking by the time this drops. But anyways, we go on. Francis Molo is supposedly... Well, he's gotten away from the Dragons, which was his plan for a long time. Good on him. Going to sign for the Sydney Roosters. Their fans are not happy about this.
Yeah, he's not what they lost. I mean, he's something. I actually don't mind him as a player on the field in short, impactful bursts, but they've lost so many good players, man.
They have. And Terrell May, which I'm going to discuss on the knock-on. Make sure you check out that weekend, please. I'm going to need a lot of time about that mistake. It's a huge one. David Clemmer is going to make his way across Sydney from the Tigers. He's wanted to join the Dragons for a couple of weeks. Let's just let that stew for a minute. Poor bloke, how far he's fallen. Bolo held him up. He came in, he supposedly had a scuffle or something happened with a staff member. I don't know what it was. It's not for me to judge.
Yeah.
He wants out. The Dragons have been stuck. They couldn't move him on because they don't want him to leave and set the precedent that, hey, you can just go if you want. David Clemmer's been told by the Tigers, get out. The Dragons said, yay. Now we're seeing some movement. We finally see the players go. Who wins that trade?
I think Clemmer's still got something to give. I'm a little bit of a believer. I would have taken him to our club in the right circumstances. Dragons, I think you'll fit in. I think they'll need him. Molo, I don't know. He's good in small impacts, but what does it say about... I mean, we all want to leave the Dragons, but if you take that aside, I don't know what that says about someone who just ups and leaves.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what happened.
No, we don't know.
So I can't...
Maybe it's the opposite where I respect him because something bad's happened. He's like, you know what? I've got to get out. So I don't know.
That's true. As a fan, without any info, because we don't have an in there and we don't need one.
Don't want one.
No. And it looks like Molo's, I don't want to play for this rabble. I'm going to go to this other coloured rabble.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good. And Clemmer, who has been told to move, has done so. I feel bad for him because he should have been lining up for the Dragons for a couple of weeks now. It just hasn't been allowed to happen. Congrats to all parties. The fact that Roosters fans have come out and said, says a lot about that club.
I mean, I wouldn't have minded sitting Clemmer at the Roosters.
Hey, it's not a bad shout.
How long's the deal at Dragons, do we know?
I don't. I think it just takes over. He's two remaining at the Tigers. I don't think there can be an upgrade.
Why did the Tigers not want him?
I just think he was surplus to requirements.
Okay.
Then they lost to Kamanu too, so what that says about Clemmer, I don't know. But I'm happy they all landed. I'm happy they're all going to play in a week or two's time. But in terms of big deals, this ain't it. And finally, we have more player movement, which you love to see in round one of a season. Jaden Brayley
great man.
On his way to the Canberra Raiders for 2 years for the next season. I am shocked. I thought he was going to the Cowboys. There's plenty of hooking talent in Canberra. That's not a joke. That's a football reference.
Yep.
Do they really need Brayley?
Why don't Newcastle need him? Remind me of that. They got Crossland playing somewhere.
Yeah, and there's not much because the New South Wales Cup team's not much chop. We playing this weekend, so I hope I don't eat those words. They named him captain and then told him to find another club. I don't know. Typical Newcastle.
He's a terrific club man. We know that. Like, he's not flash as a player, but he's tough as nails. He can hold his own. I think whoever gets him are getting a genuinely decent hooker, a lot of experience, great clubman, great person. There's no negatives if you're getting him. I don't understand how they're letting a captain go.
Why Canberra, though? They don't need him. They got Starling, who played out of his skin the other day. That young Platt, I probably got that wrong, Oates or whatever it is. Apologies to his family.
I think I did read they wanted him to be mentored by Brayley, but even that, for Brayley, I don't know what that means as far as playing time goes. So
you'd have to think the Cowboys would have had a starting spot for him because he is a genuine first grader.
Yeah.
I make a lot of jokes because we kept his brother and moved him on. So, of course, I'm going to say we kept the better brother because we did. The stats back that up.
Yes.
But in terms of...
Very different players.
Yeah, and in terms of a bloke that you can put in, you know he's not going to be in the papers. You know he's going to be the bloke who'll go out there and he'll do an interview, won't say anything dumb. He'll make you 30 tackles. He'll get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
He's that kind of player.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the Cowboys need. And he's probably taken one look at them and gone, nah, and gone to -4 in winter in Canberra. I feel bad for him.
I don't feel bad for him. He's a smart guy. There'd be something behind his decision other than desperation, whatever. Like, he's not that sort of a person. I think that Canberra, I think whoever gets him, will do fine. Like, as we've said, he's not a player that sets the world on fire as far as stats go, but he's very solid.
Canberra sucks. Sam.
Yes.
Time to talk some black, white and blue.
I can't wait.
Do the fins up.
Do I have to?
Yes. That's the thumbnail right there. Let's talk some good. Let's talk some negative. Let's talk some weekend football. The good, Tom Hazelton, 3-year deal, signed, sealed, delivered. It's good to see big, bald / tall Tom stay in the Shire.
It is. I spoke to him today. You can hear it on our podcast. He, as I said, did a world tour, and he laughed and said, "Yes, I did." And he ended up at the best destination he could, minor Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, 3-year deal. Interviewing him today, he's really tall. And I think when he's running at the line, it's worth having a guy like that. He's got a lot more attributes than that, but I'm happy. Happy he's staying.
I think the money's good. A lot of people saw 500 and were like, that's what you pay a starting prop.
Right. Don't forget that cap's going up.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you got Fanua Blake on $1 million or thereabouts. Outside that, I mean, I know Ueli signed for money that I think is too much. Mm-hmm. You're getting Tom at a very good discount.
He's taking less.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that he could have got more a little bit further north and a long way east than he's taken. I think he's looked at this Cronulla team and gone, this is pretty special. Yeah. Well, he literally said that. I got to stay here. I wouldn't begrudge him if he went to Newcastle for a starting spot and big money. No,
I wouldn't begrudge him if he went anywhere for a starting spot and big money, but he has made the right decision. He's been here for 7 years in the system. He is almost a 50 gamer now, and he's part of the 17. I think he'll be in the 17 every week, barring some mishap with form. And I think that's good enough for him. And you know, I don't think Oregon Kaufusi's position is necessarily cemented as a starting guy. I'm happy he's there starting, but it's not, you know, if he drops a little bit in form, which I hope he doesn't, but if he does, Tom could step in. So he could potentially be a starter. He's playing good minutes, and I think he's just happy. Like, I think he's just content, and the money's still pretty good.
It is. He's a lovely dude. Everyone who's ever spoken to him only has positive things to say. He is a cult hero. Yeah. Because he's big, he's bald, he scores tries. That's what you want in a rugby league front rower.
Yeah, for years we complained about having the same size pack. We all did it. Why are they all the same? Is this going to work? No, it doesn't work.
Exactly.
We need different guys, and we don't even need different sizes. We just need big guys.
We do. We need a humongous monster.
We've got quite a few now.
We do. I'm really happy with it. I sat here a couple of weeks ago when it looked like he was gone, and I was upset that he was leaving, but it's not the end of the world. I stand by that. I think it's a good re-signing. If he had left, it's okay. Yeah. It's not like us losing an Eniro or a Hines or something of that ilk. But these are the kind of blokes you build premierships on. Yeah, because for every Andrew Fafita, there needs to be a Matt Pryor.
Yes.
You can't have two Fafitas.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that, in terms of that, Fanua Blake, Hazelton. Now, one of the negative, unfortunately, is gun fullback Liam Eisen. Out for the season ACL. He started really well at Penrith Park, or whatever they call it, the other day. Newtown did win. For those that want the full review, check it out later. He just went down. He screamed. He went at his knee, and everyone knew. Everyone's heart dropped. You could see all the people on the sideline. Shout out to Bar TV, who did an amazing job the other day of covering this, by the way. Everyone just dropped. I had mates out there that said his parents just ran straight. You just knew. Yeah. Awful for him. Awful for Cronulla because he just re-signed. He moves up into the top 30, I believe, next year, if not already. He's on the website, but I don't know if that's 100% true. First of all, that's horrible news because he is going to be something special. Yeah. Kay Dykes isn't named this weekend. He's supposedly right for round 3. His words, not mine. Will Kennedy, though, he has to look at that and say, this is an opportunity. We have to find a positive out of this negative. Yeah,
the whole thing's just fascinating. We wish we weren't talking about it. Number one, we hope that he heals up nice and quick, and he won't be this year, but back bigger and better next year. The club believes in him. It's a long-term deal. So the position is there if he wants it in a year or two. But for Will Kennedy, it's fascinating because he's off contract. We all know that. And based on my mail that I received for my podcast, the feelings are very mixed, even though I had him as probably our best on ground. I had people disputing that, and we'll talk about that on the podcast this week. But I think it's almost an automatic re-signing.
He has to get 1 year deal now.
Right.
Unless Kay Dykes comes back and stays fit, which we haven't seen yet.
But how's he going to get that shot?
Oh, well, that's the thing. And I think anyone not with the surname Dykes, I'm probably his biggest fan. I called for him to come in last year. I thought he was dead set going to start round 1. He was killing it for Newtown last year, scored a hat-trick. The last thing he did for Newtown last year was score a match-winning try in the last few seconds to cap off a hat-trick. Didn't see another minute of football. At some stage, he's not 18 anymore. No. You have to start looking at this bloke. And I hate talking about this because, like I said, I'm a huge fan. Liam Ison is now a year behind in development.
Yep.
Kay Dykes is 2 years behind in development.
Yep.
Unless, Torquemo was the only other fullback in the squad. He's gone to Newcastle playing on the wing this weekend.
I think you're looking at Amawini as the backup.
Harodi has to be the backup now. And he looks like he's going to travel with the boys up north as the backup back, as he is at the right. But, I mean, I'm not moving Stone Street. He's too young. Ronaldo's days as a fullback, I think, are done.
Oh, no. We're not moving that back line around. That's staying.
I think you have to go to Kennedy and say, here's your one-year deal on $100,000 less than what you're on now. Prove it. If you play well, we'll make it 3. If not, Ison's back in 12 months.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to give him less money. I don't think that's how it works.
I would say to him, you take this or we play Harodi for a year. It is my personal. That's probably not how the real world works, of course.
I don't think he's done anything to get less money. I understand that people think there are better fullbacks out there.
Yeah.
But we don't have a better one at the moment. And as I said, I thought he was close to our best. So I'm torn on the whole Will Kennedy fullback thing, to be honest. I don't know whether I'm coming or going with that subject because I'm watching different games to other people for starters because I think that he's pretty solid. I think he's pretty consistent. Can he be better? Sure. Can we get a better fullback? Probably in some sort of dream world of no salary cap.
That's the thing.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. It sucks that we're talking about it because young Liam's still got a hell of a future. It's just a year away now.
It is. We'll talk about this more on the podcast later.
Yes.
But in terms of what Kennedy's on, you're not going to get a better quality fullback for what he's on.
No.
My hope was that Liam Ison was going to be that bloke. Again, we'll find out in 12 months. Now we move forward to play the Cowboys, who had a rough start.
Yep.
We know that form goes out the window when we play Cowboys. Named an unchanged lineup. What are your thoughts?
The Sharks unchanged? Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't know what changes people would make based on the first game and based on what we have available. I'm okay with it all. I personally would probably go a Tuku over an Atkinson, but if a back goes down, well then we kind of screwed. So I understand why he's there. And he also can do some stuff in the forwards obviously as well. He played middle forward as well. So I would like to see Tuku get some time. How that happens, I'm not sure. But I'm cool with unchanged. They almost won the game. Yeah,
there was no chance he was changing this. It's one game in. I'm the king of overreacting, and I sat here and said I was really happy with the way they played, and I wouldn't make any changes. If I was gonna, if you get up there and it's really hot, which it will be, it's not Queensland, and you look at their forwards, you look at our forwards, and you go, okay, Adam Finnell-Blake can play 60 minutes, the rest of them can play 40, you probably throw Huge on the bench instead of Atkinson. But maybe you need Atkinson to play big minutes too in that heat. So I'll leave that with Sir Fitz. I like the fact that he come out and say, I'm happy with how he played. Yeah. There can be improvements, but we're going to go with the same. Any change at this stage would have been downright ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. It could only be through injury. There's no other reason to drop any of those guys. I think 4 of them made one individual mistake each that was just amateur hour, but we're moving on from that. Like they're not sackable offences. And aside from that, defended pretty good. Like we're just beaten by a slightly better team. By the literal best. That's exactly what we said here. But look, we'll do a full breakdown. I'm going to do this twice. I'm looking forward to this one. What I'm also looking forward to is the future of one young Riley Pollard. Oh, yeah. He debuted on the weekend for the Newtown Jets. Not at last minute, because I got word the day before that he was in the captain's run and was on standby. Was he off the bench? He was. So Rajab went for HA early and Pollard went into 6. Okay. Then when Rajab came back on, Pollard went off. Pollard came back at 9 and for me was best on ground. At 9? Had 2 try assists. He played a huge part in another one. So he had 3 try involvements. Tackled his backside off. I think he kicked a couple of times too, so I know Pura got caught on the last once or twice. I thought he played exceptionally well. This is a kid that we're going to have eyes on for a lot of years. Yeah. Obviously there's a few in front of him as 2 big name players. But Riley Pollard could go back and play flag this week. He's not going to. He's been named for New South Wales Cup. This is a bloke who you're looking in 3 or 4 years. When Nico's 30-something, absolutely,
this is the kid.
Well, he's almost 30-something now.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. I think that he very much has every attribute to be the next guy. Based on the way he's trending, it's all positive. You've seen him play a lot. I've seen him play a lot. I've seen him train. He trains like any other first grader you've seen. He reminds me of those classic halfbacks like your Cronks, those little guys with all the energy, but they've got that sort of classic look about them when they train and when they play. I'm a big fan, and at this stage, and it's an early stage, I think he would be the next. I'd be building him towards that when Nico's maybe goes to lock or he's the benchy or whatever, but he's still hanging around the club because he's on a long-term deal. I'd be saying to him, you could be next in line.
Oh, he's special. There's a reason that Penrith had him locked in as their next guy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's stuck behind the guy in rugby league, in Nathan Cleary.
Yeah.
And at the time, Luai, Jack Cole, who's a pretty special talent, they, since signed Blaze Talangi, so I don't cry for Penrith. They said that on this past weekend. I had a lot of friends out at Penrith Park who all said that Pollard tore them to pieces, and all the pre-chat was Pollard this, Pollard that, watch when he comes on, and he still tore him up out of position on debut. That is the perfect thing you can do.
Yeah.
You cannot ask anything more.
Yeah, I mean, he's part of the club like anyone else. He trains with the big boys, and he's got a big future. Like, hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, he's going to be a first grader and a first grader for us.
Sam.
Yes.
Time for some top sport tips. Now, I've made an executive decision. Terry sent me some tips earlier. I'm disregarding. You're tipping for Terry.
Okay.
So do as well or as bad as you want. I don't care. Thursday night football, Knights Dolphins. Who's winning and why?
I'm really torn on this one.
It's a good game.
I don't really like back in the Knights. I don't trust them. I'll say this, Ponga was unbelievable last week. And I'm not a Ponga guy, but I'm man enough to say he was unbelievable. In Newcastle, yeah, let's go Knights.
Yeah, I want to be contrarian here. I want to disagree, but I love everything you said. I think Ponga will lead them to a fairly convincing victory. I like what I saw from the Dolphins.
I think it'll be a small victory.
Small? Well, I'll go large just because whatever. Moving on to Friday night football here, and there too, in New Zealand. The Warriors hosting the red-hot Manly Sea Eagles.
Ooh.
The Warriors were awful in round one.
Yeah.
Manly were very, very good. Can I interest you in the Warriors?
You can't.
No, me neither. You'll have to go a long, long way to find someone tipping the Warriors in this one.
They're at home, that'll help. Coming off a bad game, that'll help. But
They've had 2 weeks, which is a good thing.
It's Manly by...
How much, eh?
It's Manly by 12 at least.
Oh, I love that. Speaking of loving, let's get some fried, some red rooster as Penrith play the hapless Sydney Roosters. I love saying those words.
Now, give me a venue.
Combank.
Okay. Oh, the new Penrith.
Yep, they're the new Penrith. Well, they're going to take over the stadium.
I'm saying that like the venue matters.
Yeah, this could be played on Mars and they're beating them by 40.
Yeah.
Mate, put it this way. If you give the Roosters 20-point start, who's winning?
I think Penrith.
Yeah, I'm still taking Penrith.
They're not what they were, but they're still amazing. And the Roosters just didn't look good. I like the two centre guys. They're amazing, the two centres.
Yeah, a lot of speed there.
It's Penrith. I don't know by how many, but it's Penrith.
Penrith by all the numbers.
Okay.
Saturday afternoon. Oh, we got a Charity Shield rematch in round 2.
Classic.
The Dragons in the Gong host the Bunnies. The Bunnies won last week. The Dragons didn't.
Yeah. Dragons confused me on the weekend.
Yeah, they were good in parts and terrible in others. Like you set to set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Ian Wollongong against Souths. Who's playing halfback for Souths?
Humphreys. Dotter's been named in the extended reserves, which I think is a friendly way of saying get back to England.
Jeez, I don't know, Dan. What would Terry do? I'm going to say Souths.
All right, well, I'll go the Dragons just because we need to be a few, but I ain't proud about it. What I am proud about, though, is Saturday afternoon.
Let's go.
All the way up north, and best to anyone watching from up there, we hope all is good.
Yes.
Cowboys, not the greatest performance of all time, play the Sharks. Losers in round 1, but would be happier, I dare say, surely surely Cronulla get the job.
So there's two bounce backs here. The Cowboys need to really improve on what they did. Defensively, they were horrible. And the Sharkies need to bounce back from just the trip and the speculation that the trip's going to affect them. I was at training today. They look pretty good. I'm not worried about that at all. I think that Todd Payton's a massive weirdo. And I think that our coach is a genius. So I'm going to say Sharks by at least 8.
Knowing the Sharks as I do, they'll make this far more difficult than it needs to be. Recent games against Cowboys, I know we lost the last one. Who cares? We beat them in the second to last one. There's regular season. We got them in the finals where it counted. They beat us up there. We flogged them at home early in the season. The last couple, we've just walked through them. I dare say that we need to do something like that to get our season on kick. But if you offer me a 1 point victory, I'll take it. You get the points, you get out of North Queensland. That's our furthest 2 trips out of the way. Because that's further than Auckland. Don't look that up, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
Then we go to Perth.
We do go to Perth. God, we're
going everywhere.
Flying. Well, I think we get the points this week. I think Nico bounces back, puts another Paul Green medal around his neck. And we're sitting here next week not talking about Nico Hines.
I'll probably still talk about him, but I'm with you. I think Sharks at least by 8.
Off to the capital we go. Saturday evening.
Brayley Town.
Good game. Well, it is now. The Raiders and the Broncos.
No, is that immediate?
No, next year.
Okay.
I think. Maybe it'll break while we're recording this.
Raiders Broncos.
This will be fun. 2 winning teams.
Yeah.
That's a first, I believe.
Now, I was at Allegiant. I don't want to be a head swell or whatever with 40,000 other people.
That's pretty cool.
And they look pretty good, the Raiders. They're very upbeat. The Warriors were terrible, but the Raiders were very upbeat. I like what the Broncos are doing. I think there's just a lot of attack there.
Oh, yeah.
And if they even have a hint of what they did last week, I think the Broncos will get them, yeah. Yeah,
I 100% agree. That middle of Carrigan, Haas and Hetherington is frightening.
See, I'm only thinking about the spine, but you add those guys and even the outside backs, I think they're going to have a good year. Their
centres looked, with Staggs out, looked the weakness the other day, and they made about 26 line breaks between them last weekend. I dare say Canberra are going to be a little bit better than the Roosters were in round 1.
Yeah, for sure.
In saying that, I think if the Broncos turn up, I think they could run up a real score.
I think it'll be a little bit closer, but I think it's all Brisbane, yeah.
Now to the game of the round, year.
Okay.
The return of Spoon Bowl. And who knows, it might be an early Spoon Bowl as the Eels host the Tigers at CommBank Stadium. This is a game that is going to be the ticket's going to be so hot, you can't get a ticket without being an Eels member or buying a membership, which I think is ridiculous, but good luck to them. What's happening here? Who's winning? A rugby league fan's going to be the winner? Because I say no.
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I mean, Para can't be as bad, especially with motivation and bounce back. Tigers could have won that game.
Should have won that game, yeah.
Defensively, they looked okay. I mean, Newcastle weren't throwing a lot at them, but defensively, they looked a lot better, the Tigers. Jeez, man.
By default.
I mean, I haven't seen the Para team. If they've got some returning guys, I might lean that way. But if it's the same team as last week, and I think the Tigers are getting some guys back as well. I'm going to say Tigers field goal. Let's go.
Tigers. I'll go the other blokes just because I feel I have to. But either way, I don't particularly care. I don't say that very often. But this could be legitimately the game of the round. The Bulldogs at Belmore. I love those words. This is genuinely the hottest ticket in town. I'm saying that a lot, but I mean it. Against the Titans, who could be anything this year.
Okay. Might be a bit of a shootout.
This could be a shootout.
As defensively good as the Dogs are, Titans can score points.
Oh, the Titans. They excite me, man.
They did concede a lot in the trial, didn't they?
They did. They're going to win or lose 60-40 every week.
Yeah, right. I'm going to go with consistency and say Dogs and be boring, but it could be a good game.
It should be good. At Belmore, you have to tip the Dogs. If this isn't Seabus, I'll flip, but Belmore. Thanks again for watching this episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by our great mates at Top Sport. Please like and subscribe. Sam and I are going to go record a podcast right now about the mighty Sharks. Please check it out because you'll love it and it's awesome. But can I just get one more fins up, please, Sam, before we go?
Do I have to do it?